Let us come to 10th biology, 4th chapter, excretion, the wastage disposing system. So what is meant by excretion? You learned in the previous videos. Excretion in the sense elimination and separation of these waste materials and shift out from our body. So X means out, crinary means shift. So shift out of these waste materials which are produced bodily cells by these metabolic activities. Obviously this can be accumulated in the blood and the blood is impurified. So that in our body the chief excretory organs like kidneys plays a vital role to filtration of the blood, and they have to separation these waste materials. It can be collected into the urine. So I mean that the balance of the blood in a chemical composition, it is a very important phenomena that takes place in the excretion part. So in this part, the structural and functional units of kidneys, as we know that nephrons are uriniferous tubules. So in the previous video we learned about the structure of nephron. It consists of mainly two parts. One is Malpighian body, which is the formation of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. Glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, which the afferent arteriole takes place and it can be coming out through the efferent arteriole. As we learned in that previous video, the part of Malpighian body. So Malpighian body means it is the word Malpighian means it is the word refers to that excretion. So Malpighian tubules are the excretory organs in that earthworms means annelids. So that Malpighian is the term refers to that excretion part. So each kidney is made up of more than 1 million of these microscopic thin tubules like structures. These we call as nephrons or uriniferous tubules, which are called as the structural and functional units of the kidney. So let us coming to the structure of nephron. Structure of nephron mainly consists of two parts. One is Malpighian body. It has two parts. One is a cup-like blunt end-shape Bowman capsule, and a bunch of the capillaries, blood capillaries network is called as a glomerulus. Here one afferent arteriole takes place and it can be coming out through the efferent arteriole. The efferent arteriole can be followed by this entire the rest of that part of the nephron is called as a renal tubule. I mean that these efferent arteriole followed the capillary network, peritubular network. Peri means around these renal tubule. Renal tubule is the second part of the nephron. It consists of three portions. One is proximal convoluted tubule or first convoluted tubule. Second one is loop of Henle. Third one distance convoluted tubule or DCT. So PCT, loop of Henle, DCT. So these we learned in that previous video. Let us come to today. In this today's session, we are going to explain about our discussion about the mechanism of urine formation. So mechanism is not a new word. Why? Because already in photosynthesis, mechanism of photosynthesis, light reaction, dark reaction we discussed in the first chapter. Next, mechanism of respiration in man and woman. Next, mechanism of heart functioning that we call as a cardiac cycle. I mean that in every chapter we are having a mechanism, as like the fourth chapter also we are having the mechanism of urine formation. I mean that how the urine is formed. You know that the blood is circulated in our body. For example, approximately within an hour, our body weight 3 times nearly the blood is circulated. Of course, our human body is having approximately 5 to 6 liters of blood in an adult average healthy person. Even though the limited amount of blood can be circulated within the body. See, coming to this mechanism of urine formation, it is having the 3 stages. So mechanism of urine formation by these 3 steps. One is glomerular filtration, or it is also called as ultrafiltration or pressure filtration or selectively filtration. Why? Because the finest, only the blood cells can be filtered out. Entire the fluid part, I mean that plasma which contains the glucose and amino acids these proteins, fatty acids and other enzymes and hormones which can be eliminated. So only the blood cells are filtered, the remaining, the residue which is contains the fluid portion. So this is called as glomerular filtration, which occurs in that the bunch of the capillaries in the Bowman's capsule. So it is the first step, it is called as a glomerular filtration. Second one is called as tubular reabsorption. So entire this renal tubule, the pericapillary network, pericapillary tubular or pericapillary network is followed. So in this place, at the place of PCT, the primary urine which is formed in this, primary urine are the equivalent to the blood composition except the blood cells. So the formation of urine at the place of tubular reabsorption is called as primary urine, but it is not a urine. Of course it is in a urine, but it is equivalent to the blood composition except the blood cells. I mean that in plasma they are having the glucose and amino acids and the hormones, which is very very essential to that body. So that at the place of PCT, once again these all the essential substances are reabsorbed in these pericapillary network. So it is occurs in the PCT portion, proximal convoluted portion, PCT portion. First we have to explain, then we can support the textbook diagram. Once again I will explain in a detailed manner. So in the PCT portion, the primary urine which is formed in the PCT portion, that should be reabsorption to the pericapillary tubular network or pericapillaries. So next, once again it can be secreted in this DCT portion. The excess amount of salts, all these waste materials which are produced in this urine, that should be sent out through this DCT to this collecting tube. So this is occurs in this three stages. One is called as a glomerular filtration, which forms the equivalent to the blood composition except the blood cells, is called as the primary urine. But primary urine is very very essential. I mean that it is not a urine, it is having all the essential material which is required to our bodily cells. So that's why once again we are collecting all the primary urine into that blood. So blood and the urine is having the very close composition. So primary urine is coming back to pericapillary network by osmosis principle. So that they are having the very line by line thickness. Next, tubular secretion. It is the active secretion of waste products, blood capillaries into the urinary tubules. So this is happens in this mechanism of urine formation. Obviously having the three steps. One is the glomerular filtration or pressure filtration or ultrafiltration. The second one is tubular reabsorption. The third one is tubular secretion. So once again I support this. See children, this is the mechanism of urine formation. See here, we are having the box items: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion. So first of all we can go to the glomerular filtration. For better understanding this glomerular filtration, first we have to focus on that. Actually you know that this is the renal artery. Renal artery leads to the glomerulus. Renal artery leads to glomerulus, means renal artery enter into that each nephron. You know that each kidney is made up of 1.3 to 1.8 millions of nephrons. So the renal artery which can be entered into that in the form of afferent arteriole. In each kidney, in each nephron, these renal artery in each nephron they have to enter into the form of afferent arteriole, and it can be coming out through this efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole, when coming into the glomerulus, the blood is filtered out. So this part of urine is called as a primary urine. So again the blood is coming out by this efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole is diameter is wide when compared to this efferent arteriole. So these efferent arteriole followed the entire this renal tubule like PCT, DCT and loop of Henle. Why? Because the blood and urine, they have a close connection. What are the impurities are present in the blood, that should be sent to the these PCT and DCT and loop of Henle. So here what are the impurities are filtered out except blood cells. I mean that blood cells are entered into this efferent arteriole. So the essential materials in the glomerulus, the essential materials, I mean that as a result of the undergoes the pressure filtration or ultrafiltration, waste molecules along with the nutrient molecules and water are filtered out and enter into the Bowman's capsule. So it can be entered into the Bowman's capsule. It can be followed by this PCT. So at the place of PCT, see here, at the place of PCT, the waste which are produced in the Bowman's capsule, it can be sent to the blood capillaries. That means the wastes are which are produced in this, it can be reabsorption. I mean that the waste can be followed through this renal tubule. The wastes are followed by this renal tubule. The essential materials like glucose, amino acid, it can be reabsorbed in the blood. So the blood which is filtered out, the blood cells are passes along with these efferent arteriole and followed by this renal tubule. Here the blood cells are there and the useful materials are reabsorbed in the arrow mark which is shown in that textbook page number 81. So the useful materials like nutrients are reabsorption here. So then it can be followed by this PCT portion. So PCT portion, the 75% of water, 75% of excess amount of water can be reabsorbed into the blood. I mean that blood is required that plasma. So it maintains the 50% of water. So for this purpose, the excess amount of water, I mean that nearly 75% of water is reabsorbed in the these PCT portion to the pericapillary tubular network. Next, it can be followed through this loop of Henle. Here 10% water is reabsorbed in the pericapillary network. I mean that 75% in PCT portion. In loop of Henle, 10%, nearly 85% of water is reabsorption, and the rest of the water can be passes along with this urine. So at the place of DCT, what are the waste products are there in excess amounts in the blood? It can be eliminated, it can be separation and filtered out through this urinary tubule. So finally all the wastes are collecting and it can be open to that collecting duct. These collecting duct open to that pelvis through the hilus and it can be open to that ureters. So this is the way the blood is filtered out and the waste products are filtered in the mechanism of urine formation. But actually at the place of formation of hypertonic urine, that means 75% of water can be reabsorption in the PCT and 10% of water passes out from the filter through this proximally convoluted tubule and loop of Henle. I mean that 85% water is coming back through this blood. Next, at the place of DCT, the remaining 15% of water is there. That 15%, that means the excess amount of water still which is present in the DCT portion, it can be reabsorption by one of the hormone is called as vasopressin. So vasopressin, the hormone is secreted only when the concentrated urine is passed out. So the vasopressin is secreted at the place of DCT. It can be secreted only in the presence of concentrated urine is to be passed out. So by the way, we have to maintain the proper concentration of pH of urine. So tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion. Tubular reabsorption occurs in the PCT portion. That means the primary urine, the useful materials are reabsorbed in the blood and the excess amount of water and waste are once again they have to send into the urinary tubule in the DCT portion. So this is the renal artery and afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole which is followed to enter this renal tubule. So this is the collecting duct. So this happens in that mechanism of urine formation. So let us coming to that the excessive repeated diluted urine is called as diabetes insipidus. You know that diabetes mellitus is the blood sugar, means diabetes means it is called as one of the hereditary disease. Blood sugar levels are increased, that we call as diabetes mellitus. But here we called as it is called as diabetes Insipidus means diluted urine. Normally we can send nearly 1.5 liters of urine, but whereas in case of these diabetes insipidus patients, they can send out this urine nearly every 1 hour. Nearly 20 liters of urine can be sent out per day. So this is the case of these patients of diabetes insipidus. It is occurs because of this vasopressin hormone secretion is occurs in a not proper manner. So this is occurs in that mechanism of urine formation. Next we have to continue in that next video about the remaining part. We can explain in that next video. Thank you children. Thank you very much.